Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well and you had an okay weekend. For those of you outside of the UK is not used to dealing with extreme weather like some of you guys have. You know, we're pretty wimpy in the UK. We will get a sort of like an inch of snow, we'll shut down the country, but basically we got hit with some serious storms. I mean, serious. Flooding, there's been fatalities. People have had entire trees come crashing through windows, cars being smashed. A friend of mine had literally when I say a big tree, I mean, if it had hit his car, no way he would have survived at all. It's absolutely crazy how extreme. We got hit by Franklin, Eunice, and I can't remember the name. There's about 3 or 4 storms that have hit the UK. So for any of you that watch my channel, I hope you're all doing okay. I know lots of people had massive power cuts and it was just chaos. So that's enough about our weather. In more news, as I reported the other day, that the Queen was being tested for COVID, and as it turns out, she actually was positive. Now, I think that she actually found out this news last week, in all honesty, because they would have tested her when Charles and Camilla both tested positive. So I think, given obviously that, you know, the country would panic if we found out the Queen had it. So I think they waited for the Queen to get to the other side of it to make sure it was all okay before they made it public knowledge. Now, heads up for this video, this is purely a Harry rant video. I will be back to doing another video later in a week to do with, you know, the real royals and stuff. But this story, honestly, even I was shocked. Just when you think Harry can't possibly damage his popularity, well, what's left of it anymore, he manages to do so. So of course we've got this huge battle now. Well, I say huge, but it is pretty big. Harry is suing Her Majesty's government, all to do with having private personal protection, Scotland Yard trained officers, which basically means armed officers that have got access to UK intelligence for when he and his family come to visit the UK. Now, some people don't quite understand, obviously from being different countries, you cannot hire the police force. You can hire private security, but in the UK laws, they cannot carry guns. But this is a country where guns are not the norm, and the police generally don't carry them. It's only specially trained armed police officers that do. So obviously with the royal family being protected, they have the top security, and it's all organised by the Home Office. Harry, when he quit, lost all of these privileges. As we know, they tried to demand it in the Megxit terms and they were shut down. So Harry now has to pay for his own security. So his whole argument is it is too dangerous for him to come back to the UK to bring his family. Now, bearing in mind that Harry, as we often hear, he served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He's also spent a lot of time in African countries. He and Meghan even went over and met a lot of people living in communities. Harry has spent a lot of his youth and his adult years, while being part of the royal family, seeing people in situations, war-torn countries, where people's lives are at a risk daily. And here he is trying to push the fact that the UK is the deadliest place. He lives in California. He lives near Los Angeles. You got Montecito and you got Santa Barbara, but I mean, we've all seen Skid Row basically in LA. There are lots of dangerous things that can happen, especially out in certain parts of the, you know, the area that he lives in the States. And here he is saying that the UK is so dangerous he can't possibly come back. Now, this story, when it came to light, already had the good people of the UK spitting out our cornflakes at the absolute cheek, audacity and the sense of entitlement of Harry to demand anything of the UK and of the monarchy after everything that he has done over the past 18 months. The biggest issue that people have is Harry chose to quit. He did it in a way that was very ungracious, shall we say. They didn't notify the royal family. They didn't give them time to sort out anything. They made a list of demands and that was it. They were off in Canada. And then basically Sandringham and Summit, every time they got told no, that's when the stories of how awful their treatment were and how desperately he and Meghan had escaped with their only child at the time, just so that they could thrive and not just survive. We all remember the the crap that came out, basically, each time that they were told no. Security was one of those things. The royal family tried to convince Harry and Meghan to stay. They were having none of it. Their minds were made up, and I'd imagine probably made up before the wedding, in all honesty. The main point here, if you think about it on logical terms, is you don't quit your job, tell your boss, and then turn around and say, I'm keeping all of the perks and all of the privileges just in case I want to come back and visit sometime. It just doesn't work that way, and especially when some of those perks are taxpayer funded. One of the many questions that has been raised several times by multiple people is, what is it Harry's exactly after? The royal residences will be protected under the Queen's blanket, Charles's blanket. They will have the armed police that Harry is seeking to have for himself. They go to any events with their family. Bearing in mind, he's supposed to be coming over to visit his family, to spend time with the Queen for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So any time spent with William, with Charles, with the Queen, they will already be protected by Scotland Yard RPOs. It's not good enough. So what does he want the armed police officers for? He is no longer a working royal. He has kept a few private patronages, with Wellchild, for example. Is he saying that he feels so unsafe to go visit a children's charity, which he could do cloak and dagger? He could literally just get in a vehicle, he could go there, have the event, keep it top secret and stuff, and then leave again? Is he saying he needs armed police officers with him for that? And it's not just the fact they're armed. He wants his security personnel to have access to UK intelligence. Now, I'd love to know the answer to this question, but I think I can answer it for myself. And that is, his US-based security team, do they have access to the FBI database like they're protecting the president? Remember, he's just a normal guy, depending on the audience that he's speaking to at the time. If you see him on a Zoom call and he's talking to the general public, just call me Harry. I'm just a normal guy trying to do good things for the world. If he gets involved in a court case or anything to do with the media, I am a prince of the United Kingdom and I demand to be treated so. So the court case has now begun and we're hearing arguments from both sides. And because of this, there has been some revelations which has angered the public, and quite rightly so. Harry has actually been arguing with the Home Office since June 2021, obviously last year. What has started up his argument was it was reported that when he left the Wellchild Awards that we saw, he'd made an appearance with Ed Sheeran, he was chased by paparazzi to the point it endangered his life. Now, at the time, there was footage released. Now, all I can say is here, I'm not 100% because I wasn't there, I didn't film it. But this is reportedly the footage, and it makes sense. He's wearing the same outfits. It's the area that the Wellchild Awards was being held. Well, not the awards, but the get-together with the family and the children. And I'm going to put in a warning here. Some of you, this might trigger. It's quite a high-speed Tom Cruise Mission Impossible car chase. So just, I do apologise in advance. How did he escape with his life? Thank goodness he has specially trained officers to be able to drive around that paparazzi shark frenzy. Now, we've had reports over the years from ex-girlfriends where they've actually commented to the press, or rather Harry's friends have leaked to the press, that Harry has always been paranoid of paparazzi, to the point Cressida, it came out that she had said that he would see paparazzi when they were out and about and she couldn't see them. So this was like a complete paranoia. Now, I am of the belief that Harry genuinely has this paranoia. It's probably some sort of, deep-rooted issue that you would think years of therapy might have worked out of him by now. But I also believe there is someone close to him that has used this weakness, this paranoia. I believe that they have twisted it and stuck their finger in it, as it were, and intensified these emotions, because we've watched Harry become more and more paranoid over everything to do with the paparazzi and the media and protecting his family since he was involved with a certain someone. It would seem rather than the paparazzi being obsessed with the couple seem pretty much obsessed with the paparazzi. Now, another obsession that the couple have when it suits is privacy, otherwise known as secrecy. if they're demanding privacy over a particular subject, there's pretty much something secret going on. And this case was no different. The reports have come out that Harry desperately tried to keep this entire case completely private, to the point everything to do with his legal team, where they are going to give their reasonings as to why Harry should be given this back, is to be held in complete secrecy. So this has actually had a knock-on effect with the Home Office. For this extra level of confidentiality to be applied to Harry's legal team's arguments, it has cost a lot more money. And because he is suing the Home Office, which is the government, it is taxpayers' money. And not only that, the fact is that it's come out that he lied about initially trying to pay for it. He wasn't going to pay for it. It's been reported that his spin doctors, his PR, literally found out that the story was going to be leaked, and they were the ones that fed the headlines. This is why the BBC reported inaccurately that Harry had offered to pay. Turns out, he might be offering to pay now, but his previous arguments in all of the corresponding paperwork to do with his fight before it turned into a court case, he'd never offered to make a payment. So the offer of payment was purely manufactured to make him look better to the public. And it worked for his fan base, but now this has come out, people are even more pissed at Harry. The Commissioner of Misinformation, Disinformation, the Chief Impact Officer, the chimpo himself, has actually been feeding false narratives to make himself look better. So when you think of it like this, Harry is costing UK taxpayers money to have a court case about demanding UK taxpayers' money. And that's what it boils down to. Now, the Home Office are quite rightly miffed about this, probably why they made this public knowledge. I mean, Harry basically lied about offering to pay to make them look like they're the bad guys. Now the department, RAVEC, which is the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, actually said he was considered for personal protection on the basis of his purpose and his functions that he is to carry out when he is in the UK. Now bear in mind, he's not a working royal anymore. So if he's coming over to visit family who are already protected, why does he need additional protection for himself? Harry's legal team have argued in possibly one of the most Kevin the Teenager responses that they have acted unreasonably and failed to take into consideration the level of Harry's self-importance. Yeah, this is actually the argument. They are saying how important that Harry is, and this is why they have acted unreasonably. Now, all joking aside with this, because as I said, this amuses me. It's the absolute outrage of it. It's unbelievable. But on a serious note, Harry, to double down on this, is not even going to come. Reports are he's not going to come and attend his grandfather's memorial, which is being held on the 29th of March. Because it waters down his argument, in this case with the Home Office. So to prove a point, he's missing out on which is a very, very important day for his family and more importantly to his grandmother. And for those reasons, it's pretty apparent that it's not about seeing family. And it definitely begs the question, why does he want to be protected when he is visiting family and friends, as he said, with his children, and that protection will already be provided? Why does Harry want his own? And an extra cost, because it will come down to taxpayers. The Home Office are never going to take a payment because it sets a precedence for anyone else that wants to pay their way into this, which means if they approve it, if Harry wins this, it will be taxpayers' money. Now, to double down on Harry's argument, his team have naturally turned around and reminded the courts that he inherited his risk by being born into the royal family. He's sixth in line to the throne, didn't you know? Well, Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice being the eldest sister, they had their taxpayer-funded security stripped when Princess Beatrice was fifth in line to the throne and Eugenie was sixth. Okay, Harry's now sixth. So Beatrice was definitely closer to the throne and they took hers away. And she was living in the UK as well. Beatrice, Eugenie, Zara, Peter, their families, their children, they do not have taxpayer funded security and they are grandchildren of the Queen. Prince Edward and his wife, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, he is the son of the reigning monarch. And he does not have taxpayer-funded security unless, obviously, on engagements. Harry's not coming here to do royal engagements because he is no longer a working royal, nor is Meghan. In other news that's come out which is related, Harry has reportedly renewed his lease on Frogmore Cottage. Now this, my gut feeling is it's probably something to do with IRS, with tax. He can prove that he's still got one foot in the UK by having his residence here. Harry's reportedly not even applying to be a US citizen, so it makes sense. He's keeping the property here to say basically, oh no, I'm just staying here for a bit, but my actual real residence is in the UK. Another reason for this as well, Harry and his uncle, Prince Andrew, are currently counsellors of state. People are demanding that this gets stripped immediately. What this means is if the Queen cannot attend an event and there is no other members of the royal family that are also counsellors of state, if they are unable to make it, then Harry and Andrew can step in. Andrew cannot represent the Queen or the monarchy given everything that's happened. Whether you find him guilty, whether you don't, that is too much of a sordid shadow and cloud over him to realistically go anywhere on behalf of the Queen at the moment. Harry, again, he's based in the USA. He's accused the monarchy of racism, of years of, this sort of hereditary pain that he's been put through due to his awful upbringing. How on earth could he ever realistically turn up at an event and represent the Queen or any member of the monarchy? He has completely trashed them publicly multiple times on podcasts, on TV, and this book, his book that's being released, is going to be no different. There is going to be revelations in there. They wouldn't pay him millions and millions of pounds for this book if he'd actually leaked everything by now. There is going to be stuff in there that is going to make the book worthwhile for the price that Penguin Publishing have actually paid for it. Whether it's true or not, that's a whole different ballgame. I mean, of all the years to do it, he's doing it on the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Harry has not stopped his attacks on the royal family since he left, since Megxit was announced. You've got to think that he literally got everything he wanted. He wanted to leave. The Queen said, okay, don't do it, but okay, fine. His father gave him millions of pounds to set up a new life. He got pretty much everything that he asked for, apart from the ridiculous demands. But as it turns out, he was just leaving it a year before he started making those demands again. And if the reports are true that he's actually not going to attend his grandfather's memorial, it's just going to be another nail in the coffin. Harry, by now starting this case, has potentially cut off his nose to spite his face. Sounds like a poem. But it's ridiculous. I mean, we've had the fact that the royal family were against him, the public were against him and Meghan. We've had the media were against them. And now he's literally saying that the UK government are even against him protecting his family. That's not accurate, is it? That's not true. You lied. So this cannot do anything other than heap more stress onto the Queen. She's barely just got through everything with Andrew. She's recovered from COVID. She's lost friends. She's lost AIDS. I mean, some of her closest friends have died in the past year, as did her dog, as did her husband, Prince Philip, last year. I mean, talk about the worst possible year. I would say this is probably even worse than Charles and Diana's divorce. This is absolutely unbelievable, the amount of pressure it's probably put on the Queen. Yet here's Harry yet again, another court case, lying to the public. And it was a lie. Whether Harry did it directly or it's his team, he didn't offer to pay for it until it became newsworthy. And at this point, I think better for the royal family if Harry didn't come over, and especially if he didn't bring Meghan over, because it would make it all about them. All of the headlines they'd do something, they'd do gimmicks, they would do attention-seeking stuff. We know they would, and it would be the Harry and Meghan show. And that's not fair for Prince Philip's memorial, nor is it for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So as for Harry blaming everyone for his fall from grace, from his dwindling popularity, he's done pretty okay by himself, and this is without Meghan. I saw this cartoon picture, and do you know what? Harry Antoinette is something that should actually stick, because his sense of entitlement and the things that he's still making demands for, there is never a moment where he seems to grasp what the consequences are of his actions. I personally hope that Harry loses this case. I hope the courts side with the Home Office, and I hope that he is forced to pay back every single penny that has been incurred from the extra secrecy, the extra paperwork, for the general fact that he lied about the Home Office, which got released to the media. It's about time that the court system actually started telling this couple no. So that's it for me on this video, guys. I will be back with you very soon reporting on the other royals. So take care for now, guys. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.